I'm Pastor Henry Hildebrandt. Bit of an update here for you regarding this past weekend. First of all, we thank God for the good, undisturbed weekend we had here in Aylmer. No disturbing our services, which is greatly, greatly appreciated. But I guess it didn't go just that well for everyone in Canada. And there was some disturbance in Manitoba where the police were again disturbing a service and sat there waiting for the congregants to leave and then follow the pastor and ticketed him, which is again a total contravention against the Criminal Code 176, where it says that a pastor cannot be disturbed on his way to a church service or during the time he's there or on the way back. Also in Calgary, there was the health unit and the police walked into a church service there and disturbed the service. So we're hoping as time goes on that the officials will realize that that is totally against the law in Canada, that you cannot do that. You cannot disturb a religious service. We're hoping that will be picked up. We had an excellent service here. I preached on the crisis of leadership yesterday. Text out of Ezekiel chapter 22, verse 30, God says he sought for a man that would stand in the gap, would make up the hedge, and he found none. That's a serious situation where God is looking for a man to stand in the gap and he can't find them. It's my desire that God would help me personally and help many of us in this country, that we would, in a critical time like this, that we would stand in the gap no matter what it takes, that we would be there and that we would be taking a stand like we ought to. With Pastor Coates being in prison almost 2 weeks by now, I believe tomorrow will be 2 weeks that he's there. Very disturbing that he would be sitting in jail at this point. Like I said before, when I hear that the churches in Cuba and the communist country are open, but here in Canada, in the so-called Christian country, we jail our pastors. Something has gone very, very wrong with our God-given freedom. I understand that there is an emergency hearing that will take place regarding Pastor Coates this coming Wednesday, which we are glad for, that something is working out there. I believe the Justice Center has worked hard at it to try to get a hearing there, and the decision will be made whether or not he has to sit in jail until his court hearing on May 3rd. So if he could be brought out, then he would not have to be there awaiting his hearing on May 3rd. We hope that will work out. This is also the week of fasting and praying for this nation, that God would help. People all across this world are praying that God would hear our prayers and that God would work out a miracle, that this country could be glorious and free again, and that the officials would not disturb the religious services and would recognize that those God-given freedoms are enshrined in our charter, and that they would recognize that these freedoms were God-given and that they are not for the government to be touched. God is above all government, and it's up to the governments to listen to what God has to say when it comes to these religious services. We trust that God will bless and help, and that a miracle can be worked out during this week of prayer and fasting. May God be with you. I wish you a blessed week.